Welcome to the Positively You podcast. I'm your host, Jessie Larson, and I'm passionate about helping you shift the way you think so you can create a life you're absolutely obsessed with. Each week, I'll be bringing you a guest or a thought that's going to help you feel more optimistic and equipped to take real action. Get ready to push past limiting beliefs, ditch that negativity, and start showing up as the best and most positive version of you. Girl, let's do this. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Positively You podcast. I'm Jessie, and I'm so thrilled to be hanging out with you again today. This is my favorite part of the week, Wednesday's podcast day, when we get to hang out together. So wherever I am with you, if it's folding laundry, if it's driving in your car, if it's while you're just hanging out at home, I'm happy that we get to do it together. So speaking of which, the topic that I wanted to talk about today is, drumroll please, friendship. If you've been hanging out over on Instagram at all with me, you know that friendship has kind of been the topic of the last little bit. I am throwing an event in October all about friendship. It's called Friends and Favorites Night. And if you are local to the Davis County, Salt Lake area of Utah, I would absolutely love to have you there. You can go and find more information about how you can attend if you go to jessielarson.com/friends-night to grab your ticket. They are limited and they are running out. So if you do want to come, go check that out and grab your ticket. But I wanted to dive in more about friendship. This event that I'm planning came about because I was noticing a lot of conversations kind of around that idea of that adult friendships are hard, that making friends as moms are hard, or we don't have time for it, or we're feeling lonely, or just all of these different thoughts surrounding friendship. And so it's been a topic of conversation that we've been covering for a little while. And today I wanted to share 3 things that I've really noticed are key elements in creating more meaningful friendships. And as I've been talking and as I've been going through my own experience of wanting to make more meaningful friendships, this is a few things that have really stuck out to me that I wanted to share. So let's dive right into it. Here are 3 elements to creating more meaningful friendships. Number 1, intention. First, before we jump into anything new, you knew I was going to come at you with a mindset thing, right? This is what I'm all about. But for reals, you have to have an intention. You have to know what it is that you are even desiring, what you want. And so figuring that out, there's a couple of things that you can do. When it comes to friendships, you can think, what is it that I'm missing? What is it that I'm looking for? What would fill that friendship cup full for me? What season of life am I in, right? You kind of start to ask yourself all of these questions, and then you're able to get an intention. Your intention with friendships might be that you have pretty decent friendships, but maybe they could be a little bit more deeper. Maybe you could connect more. So it's, my intention right now is nurturing the friendships that I already do have. I want to be able to get to know them a little bit more, connect a little bit better, talk more frequently. Those are all fantastic intentions. Now you might be thinking, friends? What friends? Right? I've been there for sure. So if that's something where you're like, I don't even have friends, your intention might be, I want to make friends. I want to get out more and be more social and feel like I even have a social life. And so that's your intention. And there can be a whole spectrum of intentions there depending on you, where you're at in your life, what your season is, what your capacity is at the time. But I think it's really important that you get clear on what your goal for friendship is and what your intention is. So, number 1, what is your friendship intention? And once you know that, it leads really beautifully into the element number 2, which is opportunity. I believe that there is opportunity all around us to make friends. But without that intention, we can sometimes be a little bit blind to those opportunities. They might just be passing us by and we're not even taking notice of them because they're not even hitting anywhere on our radar. So when it comes to opportunity, there are 2 things. You can look for opportunity to make friends, to cultivate friendships, and you can create your own. So first, let's dive into looking for opportunity. Like I just said, they are all around us. I will see different flyers in my community. I will see events pop up on social media, different things, right? There's a girls' night happening or a networking event, or your neighborhood is putting together something. There's a lot of things going on in your life where multiple people will be, and there will be a chance to connect and meet other people, which then could lend itself to making new friends. But you have to have your intention first to even have those opportunities on your radar. I was invited this past week to a networking event that was not very convenient for me to go to. It was about an hour away. I wasn't really sure of anyone else who was going to be there. It was all completely new people. And I had a bunch of excuses not to go. Like I said, it was an hour away. I didn't know anybody. I felt a little bit out of my comfort zone. And I thought for a split second about bailing, about not going, about not responding to the RSVP. But then I remembered my intention. And the intention that I'd had lately was that I really wanted to expand my circle. I wanted to network more. I wanted to get to know more women who were really like that, women supporting women and helping each other achieve goals and things. So when this opportunity popped up, I was able to push my doubts and fears aside and dive right in because I knew what my intention was. So that is one reason why having your intention is so incredibly important, because it helps you not only notice and recognize opportunities, but to be able to take advantage of them when they come. Now, what if you're not seeing the opportunities that you want, or they're not around, or you're missing out? Well, guess what? You have the power to create those opportunities yourself. And it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be huge, like throwing a party or an event or inviting the entire neighborhood over for a block party or whatever. There are so many ways that you can create opportunity to cultivate friendship in your own life. I've done a couple of Instagram lives that are all saved on my Instagram if you want to go over there and watch them. But one thing that I talked about with my friend Camille was showing up and serving, looking for opportunities to jump in, and that helps create an opportunity for friendship. She mentioned when we became friends that she was getting ready to throw a party at her house and just kind of mentioned it in passing. And I said, hey, can I come help? Can I come help you set up? What do you need help with? Like I just kind of jumped in, and that really was kind of a jumping off point for our friendship going to the next level. So look for opportunities like that. It could be something like that. Or, hey, if you have a mom that you live close to and your kids go to the same school and you're always traveling to the same places, if you're ever busy, let me know and I'd be happy to pick up your kids. Little things like that where you're just kind of offering yourself, inserting yourself into their life as like an option. As, hey, if you're ever in a bind, I just want to let you know that I'm here, that you can give me a call and here's my number. Another thing that I've noticed is just kind of being open to conversation. An experience I had a couple of weeks ago was my daughter got invited to a friend's house. I drove her up there. I was just going to drop her off at the door and drive away. And the mom said, do you want to come in for a minute and have a drink with me and just sit and chat? And I kind of hesitated for a minute. I was like, I've got a lot to do. I should just leave. I felt really awkward just walking into a stranger's house. And then I thought, you know what? Yeah, I would. And I ended up staying for an hour. We chatted. I got to know her a lot better than I would have by just waving in the school parking lot. And are we best friends right now? No, absolutely not. But it's another connection. And who knows, right? Maybe in 10 years, we'll laugh about our chance meeting and first conversation. It doesn't have to be this like best friend soulmate kind of thing, right? You can just have these little interactions where you're creating opportunities for connection and for friendship. So look for the big ones, the events you can go to, the things that you can show up to, classes that you can take, just places where other people will be. And then also look for opportunities for you to create those connections as well. All right, which leads me in to the third and final element, and that is vulnerability. Now, vulnerability can be one of those words where you're like, wait, what? Huh? Hold on. Let me take a big deep breath. Now, I'm not saying that you need to divulge all of your trauma, your deepest, darkest fears, all of these like terrible things about yourself in order to be vulnerable. That's not at all. In fact, that's probably going to have a terrible effect. So how do you be vulnerable without being like a total Debbie Downer or oversharer? So one of the ways that you can be vulnerable in a more positive and upbeat way is by sharing goals and dreams. I love nothing more than being surrounded by goal people who are shooting for something and knowing those goals, because then I get put in a place where I get to be an observer and a cheerleader. So here's an example. Say you have a friend or a neighbor or an acquaintance, just not even a friend, right? Just someone you pass by that lives by you, and they mention, I would love to run a marathon one day. They're not really training for one. It's just something they say. Here's a goal. And a couple days later, you're driving your kids to school and you see her out on Main Street running. You can shoot her a text and say, hey, I saw you out there running. How's that goal coming? Right? And then you're supportive, you're interested, you're asking questions. She's able to respond back to you. And that's all because she shared a goal, just a quick thing in passing. But it gives you the opportunity to get to know something about someone. And then you can take that little piece of information and use that to create further connection. I had the opportunity this past weekend to be at a networking event, the one I just mentioned. And we sat at this table and it was an incredibly vulnerable table. And it was one of the best nights of my life. And I left feeling so connected to people that were just 3 hours later, complete strangers. And the reason was because of vulnerability. And a bunch of us did share some hard things, some tough times that we'd gone through. But the biggest thing was that we all shared a goal. We shared big, scary goals. And why that is vulnerable is because a lot of times we keep those things locked deep inside of us. We don't want to share our goals with people because we're afraid of judgment, or we're afraid of failing, or we're afraid they might think those goals are stupid. So sharing something like that, something positive, something that you're going for, something that you have this deep hope inside yourself for, wow, that's vulnerable. And that's vulnerable without, like I said, divulging all this trauma or like being a downer or whatever. But it lets people in and it allows people to be a cheerleader in your life, which we could all use more support and more cheerleaders in our life, right? And the next thing with vulnerability, if sharing goals maybe seems a little bit, I don't know if I'm ready for that. It's just let go of perfection. Show your humanity, right? Like so many times we think, I can't invite them over to my house because it's messy. Guess what? Everybody's house gets messy. Invite somebody in, right? Like share that you're not perfect, because in that, whoever you're interacting with, they feel their wall come down a little bit more, and that they don't have to put up a wall of perfection either. So as we let that perfection go, as we let ourselves be human, we allow other people to be human, that vulnerability is able to raise. Now, you don't need this intense vulnerability every single time you have an interaction with somebody new, where you come home and you're like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have shared that. I overshared. You have one of those like quote unquote vulnerability hangovers, if you've ever experienced one. But I say that it's important because I think it creates connection at a much faster pace. You can definitely still have connection. You can definitely still chip away at these interactions with friends, but vulnerability will get you there faster. I was able to really make a connection with a new friend this week as well when I went on a hike, and we had met as friends through Instagram, the wonderful world of the internet where we're able to meet people. And we found out we actually lived fairly close to each other, and we love being outside and we love exercise. And so we decided to go on a hike together. And this hike could have easily just been very, very surface level conversation. I mean, we didn't need to dive into anything. But as we were hiking and as we were talking, we shared some things, and I was able to be like, wow, I'm actually exactly like that. Like I've thought those exact things. And I was able to leave being like, wow, I can tell like we're going to be really good friends. Like that was a really good conversation. And it just really helps push that connection along faster. So if you can be brave and be vulnerable, those connections are going to be a little bit stronger, just a little bit quicker. All right. So those are the 3 elements that I've been thinking a lot about that I really think are the 3 keys to creating those friendships, those meaningful friendships that we're looking for. And I know we're all looking for them because it's the conversations that I've been seeing all over the internet lately. We are craving that connection. We are craving that we want to feel seen. We want to feel valued, and we want to be able to give that to other people as well. We want that to be a give and a take where we're receiving and we're also giving. So that's my challenge to you, is to sit with yourself for a minute and think, what even is my intention? What do I want? What would my friendship part of my life, if it was everything I want it to be, what does that look like? And then as soon as you have that intention, those opportunities are going to come pouring out to you. I've seen it in my own life. As soon as I get clear, those opportunities are there. And I'm able to take hold of them, and I'm able to kind of pick and choose which ones I think are going to be more beneficial. And then I'm also able to create more opportunities as well. And then that vulnerability, that being human, that letting go of perfection, that letting your walls down a little bit and letting people in. And I know as women, that can feel really hard. We've got some stories that we may have grown up with. We might have some hurt from past friendships. But if we can be brave and be strong and let people in a little bit and let them get to know us, those friendships are going to be so meaningful and so beneficial to our life. So there you go. That's my chat on friendship for today. And I want to offer just one more invitation. If you are local, to please grab a ticket to Friends and Favorites Night. I would love to see you there and to be able to chat with you, have you become a real life friend, not just a listener on here, right? And to meet other people who are also looking for friendships. And if you're not local, like I said, tip number 2, look for and create opportunities where you are. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in every single week, and thank you for wanting to be that best, absolutely healthiest, happiest, most positive version of you. Have an amazing week this week. Thank you for hanging out with me again today. I'm so glad you pressed play. If you want to take a quick second to share this episode with someone you think would love it too, that would be amazing. If you're loving the show, make sure you go and leave a review on iTunes. Reviews are like magic for podcasts, and your review will help get this show into the ears of more amazing women just like you. And come find me over on Instagram. I'm there at positively.jessie, and I cannot wait to hang out with you some more. So until next time, have an amazing week.